Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Nhash Cloud Mining. They're an incredibly cool company that makes cryptocurrency mining an easy, smart, and rewarding experience for everybody. Nhash has emerged onto the scene as one of the top-tier crypto mining platforms with years of experience. They offer computing power so you can mine Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, you name it, they got it. Nhash offers some of the most affordable pricing in the business, ensuring users can begin mining without a large capital outlay. For as low as $70, you can start mining today with zero maintenance fees and returns upwards of $5,000. You heard that right, $5K. Share your referral code with friends and family to multiply your gains and expand your network. It's truly an amazing system. Highly recommend. Nhash is currently running a promotion that gets you $30 off and a $5 bonus for joining. It's literally the best way and the most efficient way to join the crypto mining revolution. Highly recommend this. Head on over to Nhash.io. That is Nhash.io, Nhash.io. Again, incredible company. Give them a shot. Folks, let's get on to the show. Folks, I'm fired up to have today's guest on the show. This gentleman is a Bitcoin guru and lover of everything blockchain related. Before getting into crypto, he tore up the print advertising industry. Present day, he's the VP of Global Sales at Cryptonews.com and founder and CEO of Seedsecure. In his spare time, you can find him stacking sats or roaming the streets of beautiful New York City. I'm very pleased to welcome to the Cryptonews podcast, Richard Levin. Richard, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Matt. Happy to be here, as always.
Love to have you on. I know we've done a couple smaller videos ourselves, but this is your first time on the pod. How does it feel?
Good. Again, I'm happy to be here. You know, life is good. Work is good. The city's getting back to life. So lots of things to talk about.
I love that. A couple episodes ago, I recorded with Aubrey Strobel. Had a great time recording with her. Learned a lot. Amazing girl. And she talked about the NYC Bitcoin scene. I know you were at a party last week, a Bitcoin NYC party. Again, sounds incredible. Me, myself, I'm so fired up for the Bitcoin conference in Miami in the beginning of June. But I'd love if we could kick off by you telling our audience a little bit more about the Bitcoin scene in NYC that is buzzing right now.
Absolutely. So, prior to COVID, obviously there was a lot more going on. And, there's certain groups in the city here of people who are into crypto, which is amazing. And we love always getting together. But right now it's starting to get back to life. So the other day, well, I'll preface this with this. Last year, in the middle of COVID, I was walking through my neighborhood on the Upper West Side, and I saw a Bitcoin sign pop up in a window. Like there was like a step and repeat in the window of a shop that had closed and a new tenant was coming in. And I was like, what is this? That's amazing. So I kept my eye on it. And then a week later, I saw like the door was open and there was a little bit of construction going on. So, of course, I ran down there and I walked in the door and I was just like invited myself in. I said, what's going on here? And it was the Bitcoin Center, New York, opening their Upper West Side location. And it was literally like 4 blocks from my apartment. I was like, this is amazing. I can't wait for this to open and have a place to come hang out with other crypto people. COVID then kind of took another swing at us, so it kind of shut down for a little bit. But the other night, they had an event, a couple blocks from my apartment, which was amazing. I got down there, hung out with a bunch of people in the space, so it was great. It was really good to see everybody. I think everybody's absolutely itching to get out of their apartments and get back to life.
What do you think Miami's going to be like? I know you're going to be there. I think you snagged the media pass. Not a big deal. Pretty sweet. What's that going to be like?
I think it's going to be amazing, and this is the reasoning, right? So all of us in the crypto space, especially the Bitcoin space, no one's seen each other for like 15 months now, right? We've all been stuck at home because of the pandemic. In the meantime, we've been on an epic bull run. So I think everybody's really anxious to see each other. Now everybody's, kind of crypto rich, so to speak, and we're all getting together in Miami, of all places, for a whole weekend. So I think it's going to be absolutely wild. There's probably going to be debauchery left and right. But, the long and short of it is it's going to be amazing to see everybody, even you and I, man, we'll be able to get together and hang out. So I'm really looking forward to Miami. I'm literally counting down the days now.
Miami 2021. It's going to be crazy. Cannot wait for that. And I know a lot of our listeners will be in attendance as well. The bread and butter of this episode is going to be Bitcoin, which we will get into a little later on in the show. I know you got into Bitcoin a couple of years ago, well ahead of the curve, and you really dove headfirst into it. And you taught me a lot, and I'm very grateful for that. And I know our listeners can learn a lot from you as well. Before we get into that, I want to jump right into crypto news. Obviously, this is the podcast, the Cryptonews podcast. You are the VP of Global Sales at Cryptonews. Tell me what you do on the day-to-day basis of your job.
Absolutely. So many things now. When I first came on, I just came on board really to kind of streamline the revenue as far as our paid sponsored posts. Now we have the podcast, so ad reads for the podcast, display banner ads, all kinds of different revenue streams. However, since I've come on board, we've grown tremendously, and now there's all kinds of things going on. I know you're here hosting the podcast, which is amazing. We've hired a bunch of new copywriters and journalists. So Cryptonews is growing like crazy. We are global. We're in 10 different languages, which is huge. There's not a lot of crypto news companies that are doing that in multiple languages. So, we have a ton of readers in Russia, in Europe. The French website's massive right now, South America, Arabic. So, we're truly global, which is amazing. And obviously the bull run has helped us as far as traffic goes, but, we're putting out really good content right now. Our social medias are taking off as well. You can always find me on our TikTok page or tweeting with, photos of the dog, whatever it is. But there's a lot of growth here. I'm happy to be on board, and I think there's lots of things to come for crypto news.
One of the really cool aspects of working for a crypto company, and when I was doing an ad read for the team the other day and helping out a sponsor, I was like, so have they paid? What's going on? What's the deal? And you gave me the quick spiel. 95% of payments that come to the company and that get paid out of the company are via crypto, most of them via Bitcoin. It's craziness. Like what does it feel like to, one, get paid in crypto, and two, how seamless is it to pay and receive money in crypto over traditional fiat?
It's actually amazing. Obviously I've believed in crypto and Bitcoin for years before even doing this with Crypto News. However, really seeing how streamlined it is has opened my eyes to a lot of things. So for example, when I worked in print media or even digital media before, if you sold a campaign, a lot of times it was either people would prepay, but a lot of people wanted to do net 30, which is kind of a pain in the ass because then somebody really has to chase these people down, ask for remittance, and it can really be a pain in the butt. However, things over here at Crypto News are extremely streamlined. Essentially, if I bring on a new client, I literally create a new Bitcoin address, we send it over, and they pay. I know in, a couple of minutes that it's been paid, and we can immediately begin, which is very good, especially for time-sensitive stuff. If somebody wants something to go up right away, there's no waiting for Visa or the banks to deal with each other. This is exactly why crypto exists, right? For these super easy transactions without a bank. And that's exactly what we're doing. And it's really, really easy. I think there is a huge market here, especially for, publishing. You want to just get paid quick and be able to do stuff without having to deal with the banks. This is the way to do it. And again, 95% of what we do as far as payments come in through either, Bitcoin, Ether, Tether. But, those few that are like, oh, I need to pay via ACH or a bank wire. I literally groan. I'm like, ugh. And then you got to send them everything. It takes 5 days. There's fees on top of it. The bank said this, the bank said that, Swift codes. It's unbelievable. And then, somebody else says I'll pay in Bitcoin, and literally in a few minutes, boom, we're done. So on that aspect, it's super easy. There are a couple parts of that, though, that are a little bit weird. Like every day I'm putting out multiple Bitcoin addresses to multiple different clients all over the world. And, I really still have to hold my breath. This is the one thing I always talk about as far as mass adoption and things like that, where, I'm sending Bitcoin addresses. I have to double, triple check them. And, even afterwards, sometimes I go back and look and say, did I send the right address? So, that's the one thing that I hate about crypto is the addresses. But, it's something that we deal with. Other part of your question, getting paid in crypto personally, it's amazing, actually. I've always felt like that was one of the coolest parts about being in this industry, was actually, when you cross that bridge and you get paid in crypto. And, I always demand I get paid in Bitcoin. If there's ever any questions about, what kind of crypto we're sending, I want to be paid in Bitcoin, but I love it. It's amazing. It's certainly new. There's some hurdles you have to cross as far as, taxes and all that. But at the end of the day, I'm absolutely happy to be paid in Bitcoin.
I love that. Any stories of you absolutely tripping balls where there was a massive transaction from a client and you're just like, oh God, did I put in the wrong Bitcoin address? Must have been. I'd be sweating.
I mean, there was one time where I did sweat that I was like, did I copy the right address or, something like that? And, we use different Bitcoin addresses for each client. They all go to the same ledger wallet. But, since the blockchain is so transparent, which is the whole point, you don't want other clients being able to see all the payments from other different clients and knowing what other people paid and whatnot. But, there's been a few times where I accidentally sent two people the same Bitcoin address, which is fine. It's not a big deal. It's all going to the same wallet. But, yeah, that certainly happened. There was another time, though, about a year ago where I was in a rush to do something, and I was actually sending, it was almost a half a Bitcoin to another wallet of mine, and I almost sent it to the wrong address. And I was I literally had to pull myself together and be like, whoa, that can never happen again. Now, luckily, Bitcoin back then was, less than $10,000, so it wouldn't have been the end of the world. But now, you're talking real money. So these Bitcoin addresses, they can be a little bit daunting, but, it's just something you really have to pay attention to.
Speaking of Bitcoin, let's get right into it. Tell me about your story. How did you get into Bitcoin? When did you go head over heels? And how did you fall in love so easily?
It's so funny. I actually bought my first fraction of Bitcoin years and years ago on eBay. You could actually literally buy fractions of Bitcoin on eBay. I was actually going to use it for the Silk Road for some pot, but I never actually ended up using it. So it just sat there, and then I ended up losing it completely. I actually just lost the whole thing. It was so long ago. Then years later, it started to come back onto my radar. I'd heard people talking about it. I have a cousin who is really deep in the space, works for an amazing crypto company in the city here. And for a while, I kept pinging off of him, this is something I'm interested in. And I kind of went down the rabbit hole really deep a couple years ago, just reading, learning, it's so interesting. And finally, when it all clicks in your brain, it makes a lot of sense. So that's kind of how I got into it. And ever since then, I've been kind of neck deep in it, so to speak, and trying to help other people learn about it as well.
Bitcoin's hovering at around, 55, 56 today. We are recording on the 6th of May. We're due for a breakout. Obviously, one of the biggest reasons why we had the bull run of last year and earlier this year was because of the Fed printing out money like it's going out of style. Of course, our grandchildren are going to be the one paying for this. Heck, it could be us and our children for that matter, but that's another story for another day. We could do a whole pod on inflation, but this pod is about Bitcoin. That is obviously one of the biggest reasons. What other reasons are behind this mass adoption of Bitcoin and why the price has just gone through the roof over the last 16 months?
Good question, and I get this one all the time. There was almost a perfect storm in this case for Bitcoin's price action. Those of us who have been in the space for a long time, have noticed the cycles, of course, and then we have the halving, where the reward size gets smaller for the mining community. But all of these things kind of happened together. Then you had the pandemic, which all of a sudden led to massive money printing, right? All of a sudden, we just started printing money like crazy. I mean, we're talking trillions of dollars here. And it really opened up a lot of people's eyes. The more money you continue to print, right, the less valuable that money is. So the US dollar right now, it's not great. And if you have a ton of those dollars, it's even worse for you. Big companies, for example, have a ton of money they're sitting on a lot of times, their treasury or their cash reserves. And with the bond market the way it is and, rates this low at zero or sometimes negative, that money is literally you have to protect it. And it's difficult to do that. So a lot of companies have started to realize that, Bitcoin is deflationary. There's something here. Michael Saylor was a great example. I mean, Michael Saylor is kind of a hero in the Bitcoin community now. Last year, during the pandemic, he really went down the rabbit hole and he put his money where his mouth is. I mean, he learned this very quickly. He understood it immediately, and he took his entire cash reserves essentially and put it into Bitcoin. And since then, he's helped a lot of companies do that as well. Obviously, we've seen Tesla come into this space. I have some friends who are kind of tied in here. NYDIG is a huge company in New York that does OTC Bitcoin buys for large institutions. And the amount of institutions that are buying Bitcoin right now, the number is massive. So I think we're going to see more and more of that. So we have this perfect storm, right? We have printing of money like crazy, which is leading to, and will lead to inflation. We all know that the price of a 2x4 has gone from $2 to $10 recently. A gallon of milk in New York, the price is going up, everything like that. So we have inflation, the money printing, we have the bond market and the interest rates almost at zero. So we have big companies now that are realizing that Bitcoin is a great way to protect their assets, and kind of, we had the halving happen. So there's really this perfect storm of action happening around Bitcoin that has led to, this real price increase as fast as it did. Also, you have this crazy world now of internet and memes and Dogecoin and, stonks and all of this. And people are really just kind of wising up to the fact that we don't love Wall Street. We can't really trust these banks. Constantly you're hearing about these banks being fined for money laundering or some other crazy thing that they're doing. And I think people are really losing faith in the banks and the system and the Fed. And Bitcoin really just checks off all of the boxes to fix this. So long story short, we're in a perfect storm right now, and it's very bullish for Bitcoin.
What's it going to take to get us past this, 55, we'll call it 55K resistance level? We've been here for a while. We shot up to 63 a couple weeks ago, went back down, the whole hash rate dropped, the blackout in China, whole 9 yards, it all happened. Again, no one's complaining about being at 55. It's still probably higher than we all thought it would be, but it seems like we're a little stagnant at the moment while Ethereum and, every shitcoin on the block is picking up steam and is going 100 miles a minute. What's going to be the catalyst to push us over the edge? In the good way, the good edge.
It's really difficult to pinpoint all of these things. But again, everything's cyclical. The alts are pumping right now, which is great. If alts are your thing and you're making a ton of money, great. We tend to see a lot of times money get sucked out of Bitcoin and into the alts when certain ones are pumping like that. And while there's no rhyme or reason, a lot of times, there's a lot of people who are playing in this market and, some whales that can be pushing things around. But the long and the short of it is that, nothing has really changed. All of the institutions are still buying. All of the hodlers are still hodling. I'm not selling my Bitcoin. You're not selling your Bitcoin. None of my friends are selling. So I think that, we're certainly going to see a leg up here. Hopefully it'll be, a nice healthy summer for all of us. But, a rhyme or reason as far as timing can be really hard to do. And I hate trying to predict the markets like that. But I'm still mega bullish on Bitcoin right now. And I think that, we'll let these alts play their little game. Elon will do SNL. Who knows what will happen with all that. But I think that money will absolutely flow back into Bitcoin soon.
Another topic that you and I have spoke about off the record is clean versus dirty Bitcoin. I think this is such a cool topic. And I really think it's really going to it's going to be something prominent in the years to come. People care about things that are true, things that are clean, real, and that are done the right way. Mind you, there's no such thing as a right way or wrong way when it comes to this. It's all hypothetical, but tell our audience about the difference between clean and dirty Bitcoin and what exactly those terms mean.
Got it. Okay. So there's really kind of two different ways that this comes up, and there's almost like two different kinds of quote unquote dirty Bitcoin. The first is clean energy side of things, right? So there's a couple people right now who are playing this whole, Bitcoin uses too much energy and we only want Bitcoin virgin Bitcoin, so that's from the miners, right? It hasn't been transacted yet. It's just been created by the miners, but created with clean, renewable energy. So let's say you have a Bitcoin mining operation that is 100% powered by wind or hydroelectric from a waterfall or something like that, and you're mining Bitcoin, and a big institution wants to buy that from you. I guess you could call that green Bitcoin or clean Bitcoin or renewable Bitcoin. It's kind of a wonky thing, and it's something that's come up recently with this whole, is Bitcoin bad for the environment debate. So that's one aspect of it. I'm not really sure how that will play out. At some point, those Bitcoin are going to get transacted, and, they're going to be mixed in the hash with or on a block with other Bitcoin that aren't clean. So I don't know about all that. The other side of this is dirty Bitcoin in the sense that they have been mixed. So a good example of this, let's say, is a huge hack, right? If there was a big hack on an exchange and someone took a ton of Bitcoin and then they tried to mix it or wash it in smaller transactions, or let's say swap it for a privacy coin and then try to swap back to Bitcoin, it has kind of a dirty past to it, so to speak. So what happens with those dirty Bitcoin is sometimes exchanges will not let them onto their platform, or will not let you cash them out, or they've been red flagged, so to speak. So that's a whole nother side of things that has been a little bit weird and can be a bit confusing. I mean, an example could be, if you're using something like local Bitcoins and, you live in a third world country and you went and you paid cash and somebody gave you some Bitcoin and that so happens to be dirty and you had no idea. I mean, you're new to this, you're buying Bitcoin with cash in wherever country, and now you have quote unquote dirty Bitcoin and you can't put it on an exchange. So there's a lot to this, and I think only time will tell how we solve this problem, if it really is a problem, or maybe, it's just something that we've created. But I think only time will tell with this. It's really kind of a wonky situation, and I'm not even sure that anybody has a clear picture on it, to be completely honest, at this point.
Well said. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. Just want to shout out one of our sponsors, CoinPoker.com. CoinPoker, you guys have heard me talk about these guys. I absolutely love it. They are a revolutionary blockchain technology-based platform that was developed by an ambitious team of poker lovers. They use USDT stablecoin as the main in-game currency and CHP as in-game fuel. Tons of benefits, and this is truly meant for people who love to do a bit of gambling and who love crypto. Instant and secure transactions using USDT, ETH, Bitcoin, CHP, you name it. My favorite part, no KYC, literally takes 5 minutes. You're up and buzzing. You can jump on the platform, huge promotions, thousands in giveaways every single week. They even gave away a Tesla, and there are exclusive benefits and future developments which go right to the community every single day. It is an absolute treat. They also have a mobile app and a sports book. Whenever I'm on the go and I'm like, oh man, got a game coming up soon, you throw a bit of CHP on it, maybe a bit of BTC or ETH. However, I rarely do that. Mostly CHP. It's a great time. Highly recommend it. That is coinpoker.com. Check them out and you will not regret that. Folks, let's head back to the show. Richard, you know what? CoinPoker, you ever tried it out? Do you gamble at all?
I'm not a huge gambler. I have played around with the platform simply because, we work with them here at Cryptonews, but I'm yet to really kind of dive into it. However, there are a couple people I want to play. So, maybe you and I'll have to hop on there and dabble in this.
Nice. It's been a while. I miss actually playing poker games on the felt, but the sports betting aspect is so cool. That's another industry that the crypto community is just bound to take over sooner rather than later. Couple quick, not quick per se, but some rapid fire things that I'd love to get into. We are recording on Thursday the 6th. In 2 days, we have the GOAT man himself, Elon Musk. He's jumping on SNL, and he's obviously going to pump the shit out of Doge. I've seen him on Twitter recently saying that he's going to have some skit about the Doge father. Guy's an absolute madman. What's going to happen to Doge? Is it going to go to the moon? Is it going to actually pass $1? What's up with that?
Matt, if you had asked me this months ago, I would have said, no way. There is no way that that's happening. And asking me today, It could absolutely happen. It's the most bizarre thing, this whole Doge, I don't know what you call it, run, but it's very weird. I mean, this is a token that a lot of us who've been in crypto used to just mess around with. I mean, you could buy millions of it for nothing. And we used to just play with it and trade it and do all kinds of stuff. And now, you see kids on TikTok who are becoming millionaires in the course of a few weeks over it. Is it sustainable though? I don't know. I mean, with Bitcoin, we mine under 200 Bitcoin a day. There's not a lot of them. But with Doge, I think it's something like 10 million a day we mine. So it's really hard for that number to sustain itself. At the same time, if you look at the on-chain analytics, there are a few owners of Doge that own a ton. I mean, I was just looking at one wallet the other day. I think it's the largest one that has $23 billion worth of Doge. I can guarantee you that at some point, some of these whales are absolutely going to exit the market. And when they do, there is going to be violence. It is going to be really bad. So, the thing here with Doge is it's kind of a lottery ticket at this point. If you want to have some fun and throw some money at it, sure. But, really be careful with Doge. If you're day trading Doge, take profit often, get in, get out. But we'll see how things play out. Maybe Elon pumps it up for SNL and then, it drops or maybe it goes to $1.50. It's so hard to tell with this, but it's certainly fun to watch. That's for sure.
I think it's got to be Elon or Mark Cuban who own that massive Doge bag. But like you said, as soon as they get out, that's game over. I'm pretty sure Elon has his kids in it, so it'd be a little hypocritical if he got out, unless his kids are also exiting. And then pretty sure Mark has allowed Dallas Mavericks fans to, buy tickets and suites with Dogecoin. So again, maybe they are in it for a long run. I forget who, it was someone, one of the big dogs also said that once Doge hits $1, it's going to become a stable coin.
I don't know how that's possible. Typically with stable coins, you put $1 in, you get $1 of stable coin, right? If you're printing or minting, millions of them a day, I don't understand how that works. But then again, I don't understand how the Fed works, and they print trillions of dollars. So who knows what's going to happen with this, but it's certainly fun to watch.
Let's jump back to, I guess Doge has an application for this too. You started a company called Seedsecure. I know it's still in the infancy stage. It's still a startup. You sold hundreds, if not thousands of them. Really cool. You blessed me on one. Appreciate you doing that. I use it for my cold wallet. Can you please tell our fans a little bit about Seedsecure? And I love the name. Tell me, the name makes sense, but start from the name and then go to the whole product and the next steps.
Absolutely. And I'll preface this with it's not some crazy tech company. It's pretty simple stuff, but it was born out of necessity. So obviously, if you use a cold wallet or even now a hot wallet, MetaMask, anything, you have a private key, and that private key is turned into words. It's either, usually 12 words or 24 words, and you have to keep it safe, right? It's really, really important that you never lose your seed phrase. So you want to keep it secure, hence the name Seedsecure. But I'll tell you exactly what this is. So a while back when I first got my first cold wallet and I was writing down my 24 words, I said to myself, this is my backup. If I ever lose this or it, disintegrates and my hard wallet disappears, gets stolen, broken, burns up, all I have is this piece of paper, and I did not feel comfortable just with a piece of paper. So I started looking into other options, and, I've seen people have metal plates that they were, etching or tapping their seed phrases into, and I loved it. And I bought one actually, and I think I paid like $50 or $60 for this little piece of metal. And I thought to myself, that's crazy, but, it was a necessity, so I did it. Flash forward, a couple of years, I had multiple wallets on multiple different platforms. I have multiple cold wallets as well, and paying like $60 for each one of these metal plates that was literally just a piece of metal seemed ridiculous to me. And then, even worse, where I was buying them from, I think it was Amazon at the time, they were completely sold out for months. So I said to myself, this is ridiculous. How much could these be to make? So I actually went down the rabbit hole there. I found a company that, presses steel, everything like that. I got a quote and I just made my own. And so I decided, since the price point was pretty cheap to make and, it's pretty inexpensive to ship these things, that they shouldn't be $50 or $60 a piece. I feel like they should be $20, shipping included. So that's exactly what I did. I created Seedsecure.io. We essentially will ship you the metal plate. It has 24 slots on it. Then you can etch or tap your seed phrase into it. It comes with a secure envelope and a tamper-resistant seal, so that once you etch it and put it in there, that no one's read it. So even if somebody in your house finds it, you'll know if they opened it and read your seed phrase. All of this comes mailed to your home for $20. So it's super easy. I sent a bunch to some influencers and some friends and stuff like that, and people plug it sometimes on different Clubhouse channels, things like that. But I get quite a few orders. I mean, I'm shipping these things out all the time, which I'm happy to do, because at the end of the day, really what we're doing is helping people secure their crypto and not lose their hard-earned funds.
Folks, highly recommend getting a Seedsecure. I have one as well. I absolutely love it. We're not plugging this here. No free ads on the show. However, when the guest comes on, they can plug whatever they want. And I truly do have one, and they are awesome. Cold wallets versus hot wallets. You were one of the people I went to. I asked a bunch of my friends, my crypto gurus, who know a lot more about the space than I do. I asked them, at what number, financial number, do you switch your funds from the hot wallet to the cold wallet? I know it's a contextual question. It's a hard one to answer, but is there a rule of thumb? Is there any light you can shed on that? What's the best practice there?
It's interesting. I've kind of changed my answer on this recently, and essentially my answer now is whatever you're comfortable losing, leave that on the exchange, and whatever you're comfortable keeping forever, put that on your cold wallet. Whether that's $500 for you, $10,000 for you, whatever. Just know that if it's on the web, or if it's on a hot wallet, or if it's on an exchange, that's the only place you're susceptible to hacking. Once you get that onto your cold wallet, if you're doing it correctly and following the right protocols, you're safe. So everything on that cold wallet is safe. And for me, every month or so I transfer onto my cold wallet, or sometimes even sooner. But really, for you out there in the world, whatever you're comfortable losing, leave on the web. It could happen. It probably won't, but it could. We've certainly seen Mt. Gox or some of these other, Quadra in Canada. All kinds of things happen. So I think it's best practice, if you're able to, put it on a cold wallet and just have that peace of mind.
Totally agree, but I beg to differ in regards to yield farming. Getting that APY. What about if you put on the cold wallet? You're most likely losing the ability to garner a pretty sizable yield on a platform like Celsius or BlockFi. Is that worth it in the long run?
This really, it comes down to personal preference. So, full transparency here. I keep a lot of my funds on my cold wallet, but I also do use BlockFi. I do use some of these other things. I talk about Bitcoin all the time and I love it, but I'm not a true maxi. I have altcoins and I absolutely am staking stuff. I'm certainly, collecting yield on some stuff, and that's fine. If you're at that level of crypto now where, you're staking and yield farming, or you're in liquidity pools, you've probably got a good grasp on that. And for that, of course, you do need hot wallets. I use MetaMask all the time. I'm in it, 50 times a day. But essentially, the way I look at it is my cold wallet is like my savings account. And my hot wallet's kind of like my checking account. For those coins that I know I'm not touching for a long time, if ever, they stay cold. For the stuff I'm flipping around or, tossing here, tossing there, they stay hot. And, that's kind of the way I've just rolled with it.
That's a great line. My hot wallet is like my checkings account, and my cold wallet is like my savings account. That is great. You're going to see someone patent that sooner rather than later. This has been awesome. A couple more rapid fire questions and we'll wrap it up. Even though you are a huge Bitcoin lover, you're not a Bitcoin maxi, but you have definitely learned a lot about Bitcoin. Very quickly, what is the best place to learn about Bitcoin besides reading articles on Cryptonews. Where's the second best place?
So you absolutely have to read the Bitcoin Standard. That's the first book I give people when they want to go down the rabbit hole. It really starts getting your mind thinking in a whole different type of currency, right? It teaches you about fiat currency, which you kind of really need to understand before you learn about cryptocurrency and why it's so important, decentralization, all of this. So I highly recommend the Bitcoin Standard. That's number one. Jason Williams wrote a great book called Hard Money You Can't Fuck With. I love that. So Going Parabolic is his Twitter handle. That's a great book. And then really, as crazy as it sounds, Twitter has been a great place to learn. If you can get through all the shit posts and all the, antics on Twitter, or crypto Twitter for that matter, there's a lot of really good stuff kind of buried in there. So, you have to navigate at your own risk, so to speak, but, you can really dig some important and solid info out of there. Michael Saylor's on there all the time. He did this Saylor series with Guy Swan. That's amazing. I found that on, Twitter. That's a podcast as well now. So there's a lot of intel out there. But you can always also check out cryptonews.com if you're, looking for up to date.
Love that. I often ask our guests, what will happen first, Bitcoin at 100K or Ethereum at 5? Now that question is almost nullified. Seems priced in that Ethereum has that in the bag. I think ETH is at 3.3, 3.4 today. It's on a tear. So I'm going to switch the question. What will come first, BTC at 100 or ETH at 10?
That's a tough one. So BTC at 100 or ETH at 10? That could probably be BTC at 100. I really think that, once we find out who all these institutions that have been buying up all this Bitcoin are, that, number go up. ETH at 10K, that'll probably happen too. I don't know if it'll happen as fast as Bitcoin, but, if it's ETH at 5K, I think that may happen relatively quick. But yeah, so I'm thinking, if it's the 100K or 10K, I'm thinking Bitcoin takes that one.
What company that does not have a coin, or maybe they have a coin, but coins aside, currencies aside, what crypto company are you the most bullish on right now?
Ooh, I really like what BlockFi is doing. I think BlockFi is really revolutionary. Being able to essentially use your crypto just like you would a checking account or lend on it, take loans on it. I think that's really the future of this. Bitcoin is amazing. Ethereum is amazing. And all of these, other cryptos that are coming out, these tokens, a lot of them have amazing use cases. But being able to now borrow against them, lend against them, that type of thing, that's really taking it to the next level. I always say, I don't, people ask me, well, when are you going to sell your Bitcoin? And I always say to them, hopefully never. Hopefully I'll just be able to borrow against them later when I need fiat cash or US dollars or whatever I need. Hopefully I never have to sell my Bitcoin, and companies like BlockFi are absolutely making that happen. So shout out to BlockFi. These guys really in the last few years are very impressed with what they're doing.
I want to steal a question from one of the podcasts I love, Invest Like the Best, from Patrick O'Shaughnessy. And that question is, what is the nicest thing someone has ever done for you? I know it's a tough one, but I love that question.
Wow, the nicest thing that someone's ever done for me. I have a really good family friend who gave me an opportunity in the sales and advertising world, and really helped mentor me and really took me kind of to the next level in life. And I think it's really important when you have somebody who does that for you, kind of a boss or a mentor, somebody who really cares and helps carry you and teaches you and is really like that. And I had that happen for me, and I'm very grateful for this family friend. I think it really kind of leveled me up in life, so to speak. So that was probably the best thing anyone's ever done for me.
Awesome. I might start incorporating that into the epi. It's such a good one, but again, it's not original. I snagged it directly from him. He ends that episode every single time, and I cannot end it the same as him. So I have one last question for you. I guess second last question. There are so many terms in the crypto glossary. This is a crazy question, but what is your favorite term?
This one's easy. For me, it's BTFD. Buy the fucking dip. I say it to people PTFD. All the time. People will text me and they're like, Bitcoin's dropping. What do I do? I'm like, dude, buy the fucking dip. So that's it. Easy.
You heard it here by the dip. Richard, this has been awesome. Loved having you on. Where can our guests find you before you take off today? Where can they find you on socials?
So you can find me on Instagram at New York or Paris. Love those cities. And you can find me on Twitter at Bonjour Bitcoin.
New York or Paris on Insta and Bonjour Bitcoin on crypto Twitter. You heard it here. Richard, thank you so much for jumping on. This has been awesome. And I am 100% positive that you will be on again, whether that is a guest host or a guest in general. Thanks again for coming on. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Folks, that was it for today's episode. Hope you had a blast listening to Richard Levin, VP of Global Sales at our very own Cryptonews.com. This is a lovely one, and we hope you have a incredible weekday, whenever this airs. Hope you have just an incredible day altogether. Thanks again for listening. If you enjoyed this one, it would mean the world if you could subscribe to our podcast. We have started out not too long ago. It's been about 6 weeks. We're buzzing. We're really picking up steam, and we've received a lot of good feedback, and we love you for that. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you'd like to see change, hit us up on Twitter. You can find me at Matt Zahab. That is Zahab, Matt with 2 T's. Good old Catholic parents. Got real original with the name, Nat. And that is about it. Folks, love you all, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Have a good one. Bye.